Hey guys, Coach Kurt. I was asked to help teach a control tactics class last week with another instructor. And when we were all done with the class, we finished up this with scenarios and we chose felony car stop. Now, we did 2 officers per scenario because we wanted to wrap it up as quickly as possible because they already been there for a while. But let's approach this from a single officer point of view. You're a game warden, you're a rural deputy, you're a park ranger, you're some kind of conservation officer, a trooper in the middle of nowhere. But the point is, you're rural, you're by yourself. If you're a city cop, 2, 5, maybe even 10 minutes, well, 10 minutes, that's a long time for a city cop, but you might have to wait for your backup and then you can continue the felony stop. But it's not a good idea to wait that long when you're by yourself, when you're talking a half hour to an hour, 2 hours away. I've had times where there's just no backup available. You're completely on your own. So let's approach this from a single officer's point of view. And remember, under pressure, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your level of training. Now, one really important thing that's important is to stay alert. Of course, you're by yourself, but remain calm, breathe, think your way through the scenario, and hopefully you've had plenty of training in this environment. One thing I did notice quite a few times out of all the groups that went through, only 2 groups out of all the groups used a long gun. Guys, distance is your friend. Use a long gun. If you think you're going to be in a gunfight or possibly in a gunfight, bring a long gun, for God's sakes, please. So this would be a 2-officer approach. A car is directly behind, or in my scenario, maybe you're just on the side of the road, you don't have a big wide turnout. I might approach it this way because I don't want the felony stop to spill into the roadway later on when I have them get out of the vehicle. But when possible, I cant the vehicle like this. I have an engine block and the wheels and rims protecting me. I'll cant the wheels, I can't talk, to the left, and affording as much protection of the vehicle as possible. And again, I'm using a long gun. This is a single officer approach. You may not or will not have backup in this scenario, and it happens all the time. You're going to have the driver roll all the windows down. Super important because they might have tinted windows. Driver, take the keys out of the ignition. Keep the keys in your right hand. Most people are right-handed. Keep that right hand occupied. Driver, put both hands out the window. Using your left hand and your left hand only, open the door and step out of the vehicle. Driver, stay pointed away from me. Keep looking away from me. Put your hands on top of your head. Guys, I like to have them put their hands on top of their head, and I'll explain more later about that. Driver, back to the sound of my voice. As they're backing, have them stop. Open those doors, leave those doors open. You're very likely going to have to clear that car, or you should be clearing that car later on. You don't know if there's anybody else in there. And it's easier if those doors are open. Again, windows down, doors open. Driver, back to the sound of my voice. Keeping their hands on top of the head, of course. I have them as a driver. Sidestep to your right and open the trunk. Leave the keys in the trunk lock. I'll have them open the trunk because, again, somebody could have crawled in that trunk. Most hatchbacks, you can lay the seat down and crawl right into that trunk. Have them leave that trunk open. You're going to need to clear it anyway, and it's just better to have them do it. Now the keys are out of their hand. You keep in the hands on top of their head. And again, I'll explain more of that later. You have them sidestep back to their left, facing away from you, and backing to the sound of your voice. I like to stop them just off of your bumper, past the lights. I don't want them blocking the lights. If it's at night, your high beams or whatever are lighting up the vehicle. I want them not to block that light. I don't want anyone looking back to see what's going on. Now, I did a little bit of reenactment here. I'll accept an Oscar award later on, but you're going to be like, driver, take all the windows and roll them down. I want you to roll down all your windows. Again, these windows might be tinted. Driver, roll down all your windows. That's super important. Assuming everything goes right, they've rolled down the windows. Driver, turn the vehicle off. Driver, remove the keys from the ignition and keep your keys in your right hand. Remember, I like them to keep that hand occupied. I like to keep these commands quick and short and very easy to understand. You guys, keeping those windows down is super important. Again, windows are tinted. You don't want them to be able to, yourself not to be able to see in later when you're clearing that vehicle. You want them to get those keys out of the ignition so they can't just take off. Now, they could do it anyway, but that's just one thing that you're trying to handicap with them. You're handicapping them by having those keys stay in their hand. And then it's going to be driver, stick both hands out the window. Driver, using your left hand, open the door and step out of the vehicle. Stay facing away from me. Driver, get your hands back on top of your head. Keep their hands on top of their head, fingers interlaced with the keys in their palms. You'll see why in a minute. Driver, back to the sound of my voice. Now they're going to keep the door open. You're going to have them keep that door open. Driver, stop. Driver, using your left hand, open up the back door. Leave it open. Put your hand on back of your head. Guys, I like them to use their left hand because obviously the keys are in their right hand, and they're using their non-dominant hand, in most cases, non-dominant hand. Driver, sidestep to the trunk. Open the trunk. Use your keys and open the trunk. Driver, leave the trunk open. Leave the keys in the trunk lock. Driver, continue to back to the sound of my voice. Guys, it's important to get that trunk open. Have them leave it open because, again, you're going to need to clear that later. Driver, keep backing to the sound of my voice. Keep backing. Stop. Guys, I'll have them sidestep to their left because they're getting out of the beams of the light, especially if this is at night. I want to get them out between the vehicles. And I'm going to say this is what I was explaining why you don't want their hands up. A lot of people can still shoot or practice shooting with their hands up. Guys, first 5 years of my career, I saw inmates practicing all sorts of shit in the yard. But hands on top of the head. And I'll say, driver, use your hands, pull up your shirt. I want to see your waistband. I tell them what I want. I want to see your waistband. I can't see it. Lift your shirt higher. Lift your hips higher. Keep turning. Stop. Now, guys, I apologize for the darkness of this video, but I have a blue gun training weapon in my waistband. That's the point of having them raise their shirt. You can see that they have a gun. And if you can't see it, again, tell them, use both hands, grab more shirt, lift that shirt higher. I need to see your waistband. Do it now. Driver, turn back away from me. All right, driver, continue to back to the sound of my voice. Now, guys, I'm going to stop them just short of the bumper or just short of my door. And again, apologize for policy of my agency. You can't see my patrol vehicle. I can't use any of my equipment. So I'm going to lay them down on their stomach. Now, guys, if you're working in Nevada and it's super hot, don't lay them on their stomach. Keep them on their knees. But you're going to get them down. I like to have them cross their ankles and put their knees to their butt. Guys, I have lots of handcuffing techniques. Search my channel. I've got like a half dozen different handcuffing methods and techniques on how to handcuff people for various reasons. Just look in my channel. I'm not going to put it on this video. But here's the kicker. You're going to have to search that vehicle. If backup's only 10 minutes away, wait for them to come and then they can cover you while you search the vehicle. But at some point, you have to search that vehicle for yourself. Now, if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. You've set it up for success. The doors are open. The trunk's open. However you train this, however you think this out, do so slowly, carefully, methodically. And remember, under pressure, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your lowest training. Please, guys, like, subscribe, and share. Send me some comments. Let's have discussions about this. I think it's a good thing to talk about.
Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful.